Good morning and welcome back to NYSE TV Live, everyone. I'm Kristen Scholler. In a post-pandemic victory for the box office, the holiday numbers smashed records with an estimated $420 million in ticket sales over the 5-day stretch. That is according to ComScore. Well, joining me now with more is Seth Schachner. He's managing director at Strat Americas. Seth, great to see you, especially as we start December together. And I want to know from you, what about these films drove people to the theaters over the weekend?
Yeah, it was an awesome weekend. Great to be here, Kristen. You know, this was sort of like going back a little bit last year to Barbenheimer. You actually had 3 different pictures that really offered a really nice mix of programming, basically, for lots of different audiences. Female audiences, multicultural audiences, and probably the biggest is the family. And, you know, when these things get coupled with massive marketing campaigns, I mean, maybe even some of the stuff for Wicked was a little over the top. This is what Hollywood's all about when it comes to big pictures and theaters. So it works. It's really exciting to see it. It's a huge weekend that can kind of recoup some of the worries they had about in terms of this year being as good as last year.
How much of a difference, Seth, does the marketing make? Of course, I think about the holiday box office and your reference to Barbenheimer just about 18 months ago.
You know, it's an enormous difference, Kristen. I mean, I think for all media right now, you know, with social media, TikTok taking up so much time and so many, you know, younger people's attention, you really need to have marketing campaigns that break through the clutter. And I think, you know, everything from some of the exhibits with Gladiator in the theaters to some of the stuff with Wicked was just out there in such a major way that it really got people's attention. Social media is really important as well. Some of these younger stars, you know, Ariana Grande for sure, really break through the clutter and bring people back. And, you know, this is what the town is about. People feel very strongly about motion, you know, pictures going into theaters and being a big part of the mix. And I think you saw it loud and clear this weekend.
I want to hear more about these characters, Seth, and the continued success that it feels like we could be stacking up for here in the wake of these releases. Do you think we see more of these characters post-Thanksgiving?
Yeah, I think all of these franchise pictures, you know, we call them tent poles, are designed to be multi-platform in nature. You know, Moana 2 is actually originally supposed to just be a television show, basically. So I think, you know, you're going to see an increasing mix, whether it's characters or IP or franchises, on social media, in merchandise, in stores, in different experiential ways as well. So, and certainly sequels will come, whether they're in the theaters or on other media. So I think the multimedia mix and sort of breaking things through on social are going to keep not only the characters, but these franchises going forward for sure.
I got to tell you, it is a cold morning here in New York, Seth, and so it has me wondering if we can expect more blockbusters ahead, especially as we head into the new year.
Well, it's a little bit weird. I want to be guarded about the Christmas. I don't know if there's something I can immediately point to, but next year there's going to be an Avatar 3, and there's Superman are coming up, and there's another Mission Impossible. So that I think probably we're trying to point to the next year rather than Christmas. Basically, there is a cool Bob Dylan biopic coming up, but this might have been the big one. And I think with both Wicked and Moana, they're going to stick around. They're not going away, and they may not even go to premium video right away. So we're good for the year, I think.
Interesting, and I do think I'm going to see that Dylan biopic over the Christmas holiday into New Year's as well, so I'm glad you referenced that. I'm curious, with this recent box office success, very strong showing, what does it mean for streaming?
Well, it's a really good question. You know, I think streaming's for sure still here to stay, but I think you're going to see, you know, a continuing mix and kind of selection of what goes into theaters and what goes into streaming. And there's not a clear answer to it, except I think these sort of tentpole blockbusters for sure are going to go into theaters. But, you know, increasingly the town and the streaming services are about profitability, not just plunking everything out there and hoping people watch it, basically. So I think streaming is going to be an important part of the mix for mid-level pictures, independent pictures as well. And I think, you know, motion pictures are going to be, the studios are going to be selective about what they release in the theaters going forward. So it'll be a complicated mix. We've had some weird things, you know, the last, what could be the last Clint Eastwood picture, for example, was just literally dropped into the theaters for a few days out here. And, you know, the next Greta Gerwig picture I want to say Netflix kind of went kicking and, a little bit before they decided to release it. It'll go into IMAX theaters. So you're going to see that kind of selectivity between big releases and whether they go to stream, whether they go into movie theaters. Be interesting.
Seth, quickly before I have to let you go, new administration coming January. What does it potentially mean for media mergers?
I mean, the theory, and we don't know yet, is that it could be a little bit more of a libertine, hands-off environment for regulation and for mergers, basically. And so there's at least 2 or 3 streaming services and studios you could point to that could be logical partners to go together. Some say Hollywood studio execs are kind of giddy right now about it. So I think, you could for sure see more mergers in that. You'll probably see effects throughout the entertainment industry, whether it's Live Nation or TikTok, being able to do a little bit more of what they were planning on doing without regulators in the mix. But that's not for any means, certain yet.
All right, Seth, great to see you. Thank you for joining. I think on the West Coast. That's Schachner, Managing Director at Strat Americas.